Over the past several years, I have seen a lot of instances of people being sued or charges being brought against people for, I'll give examples, things like someone not wanting to bake a gay wedding cake, or someone not wanting to make monogram invitations for a lesbian wedding, things of this nature. And only in the last year or so have we seen a lot of resolutions to these cases, or at least the beginning stages of resolutions to these cases. And they all seem to end in a very similar way. That while your individual rights do matter, you can't discriminate against their religious freedom. And according to their religion, they do not recognize gay marriage, or they do not recognize transitioning. If you're born a man, you're a man. If you're born a woman, you're a woman. That sort of thing. And because it's in direct opposition to their religious beliefs, you cannot then force them to do something or accept something or such, because we here in America do have freedom of religion, and since they are not attacking you, you can't then force them to do something because that's discriminating against them. And the, to me, this has always been something in the back of my mind I had thought about. Every time I see a new uh, Christian versus transgender person, or Christian versus gay marriage, or like in the UK, Muslims versus uh, gay sex ed, I've always thought to myself, how exactly do you resolve this when both a person's sexual orientation and their religion are protected identities? Because that seems to conflict. This is the first time that we've ever seen something like this, where both are a protected group or class or identity, and they are directly butting heads. Now, say what you will against like women's civil liberties, or black civil liberties, or any other groups like that, when they were happening back in their heyday, it wasn't contradictory to Christian or whatever other religion's beliefs, short of Muslims' beliefs post 1970. Thank you, the Shah of wherever. But it never really conflicted with any other sort of group or protected class. This is the first time where it really has, and it all seems to be going against the progressive view of, oh, well, my being trans is more important than your religion. I personally believe that it keeps end up ruling this way because your protection of your sexual identity or your gender is a civil liberty, whereas protection of religion is a constitutional right. And I believe that the constitutional outweighs the civil. I may be dead wrong in my interpretation, but that's just my sort of weird justification that's going on. But time and time again, this seems to keep happening, where religion ends up winning because they keep discriminating against the religion, or not even recognizing that religion, uh, the freedom of religion exists, and the freedom of religion should be able to say, no, I don't believe in this. I will still sell you the generic thing, but I will not provide a service specifically writing out or catering or showing that it is a gay wedding, a transition, whatever. And going forward, I'm not sure how that changes. We're seeing more and more lawsuits in cases where people are having to go to court just because they said him instead of her. A lot of that seems to be because no matter how much people try, you can't upheave a language, a centuries old language, in just a few weeks. It's going to take decades to do this if you actually want to succeed at it. And suing everyone who slips a him instead of a her is not going to help. So this is going to be a very interesting next few years because I don't think that they get exactly why these lawsuits and these cases keep losing. As much as you don't like it, people have the right to their religion. That's what one of the foundations of this country is: freedom of religion. And they are not discriminating against you by not wanting to engage with you. Now, if they were discriminating against you and said, fuck off, faggot, or something like that, absolutely. But that's not the case here. And that seems to be something that they don't understand. People don't seem to understand that they have a right to not want to interact with you. They still provide whatever in a general, but they don't have to provide whatever in a specific. Them not wanting to work with you is different from them coming up to you and attacking you for being you. I don't know how I can explain it any easier. That's why the religion keeps winning, and I don't think that they will get this. We're going to see years upon years upon years of lawsuits like this, and I can almost guarantee they will all end the same way. We have freedom of religion in the Constitution. You can't discriminate against someone's religion by forcing them to do something that goes against their religion. Now, you can argue, well, it never says that in the Bible or anything, and that's a topic for another time. But it's generally accepted by Christianity, Islam, the Judaic religions in general, that gay marriage is kind of a no-no in the religion, and men are born men, women are born women. The transitioning thing doesn't cope with the religion because God made you what you are. Again, your interpretation of that can vary. I'm just explaining the mentality behind the religions and why they view this. It's going to be really interesting, and I would think after so many failed lawsuits, eventually that would set enough of a precedent that would kind of backfire on the progressive ideology, which is why I would think that they would stop. Because after losing 2 or 3 of them, you're kind of setting your own movement back a lot. You would just take the loss and then move on in a slightly different direction without doing this kind of thing. You're only hurting yourself by continuing this, but hey, what do I know? I'm only a guy that sees sort of like the big picture, not the immediate right here complaint. Sometimes I think progressive ideology needs a better PR team, but what do I know? I would actually like to know your opinions and thoughts about this. I am genuinely curious because this is one of those weirder things that I think will differ greatly person to person and how they view it and what they think about it. And I would really like to hear if you're close to my thoughts, I'm way out, just on a sideline, fringe idea, what have it. I want to know if you think you're close to me, if you think I'm completely crazy, if you think that what I say makes sense, but you have a completely different idea, just throw them out there. I want to hear it. Anyway, this has been Math Machine, just rambling about the greatest fight of the century: religion against progressive ideology. There's a slug out I would love to see on pay-per-view. Peace out.